What was his motive? That's what the nation wants to know, and this 60s pop classic that he played over a loudspeaker may provide a clue.
We're tracking a breaking news alert for you tonight. News 2's Bob Mueller at the WKRN.com alert desk with new information about the bombing suspect, Anthony Warner. Bob
Was the only person responsible for the Christmas Day bombing in Nashville.
The man responsible for the blast, Anthony Warner, mailed a package to someone in Murfreesboro just days before the bombing.
Ottawa, Ontario, 1982. At the National Museum of Canada, paleontologist and curator of vertebrate fossils.
And that he died in the explosion, according to the BBC.
That man immediately turned it over to the FBI. Investigative reporter Ben Hall shares exclusive details about what was inside.
Dale Russell publishes a thought experiment based on a trend toward larger brain sizes and the upright posture of dinosaurs.
Democracy in a big, diverse country doesn't work if you constantly demonize each other.
When you're alone and life is making you lonely, you can always go downtown.
Yeah, guys, that's right. We know the police are searching for a motive for the Christmas Day bombing. It turns out that suspect, Anthony Warner, was very interested in several conspiracy theories.
Some people aren't people at all, but are in fact lizards that look like people.
What I'm saying, if you deliver it in one line, oh, you know, the world's run by reptiles, you meet it on one level, well, that's crazy.
This nondescript package was postmarked December 23rd, 2 days before the bombing. It had no return address, but the rambling pages inside left no doubt who it was from.
Houston, Texas, 2010. Doctors at the Texas Heart Institute examine a 59-year-old man complaining of chest pains and make an astounding discovery. The patient has a 3-chambered heart, similar to that of a reptile.
And I mean that literally, by the way. I was reading the other day, there's a guy on the radio who apparently Trump's on his show frequently. He said, me and Hillary are demons.
The initial theory is that Warner managed to concoct a powerful bomb and place it in his RV. He then drove the RV bomb to downtown Nashville on Christmas morning and parked it right next to an AT&T transmission building.
Pop icon Petula Clark singing Downtown. The song is a wistful message for lonely people who can find companionship in the bright lights of downtown.
A source familiar with the Nashville bomb investigation tells ABC News that Warner may have been tracking a conspiracy about lizard people.
Researchers attributed the rare condition to an evolutionary phenomenon called atavism, when the lost trait of a distant ancestor reemerges in a modern organism.
The idea is if you look at where we evolved from, we're first fish had a 2-chambered heart. And then we came on land, we're more like a reptile that has a 3-chambered heart. And then eventually the 4-chambered heart, and we became mammals and then humans.
Democracy does not work if you just say stuff like that.
Good evening, everyone. The former girlfriend of the Christmas Day bombing suspect told the FBI Anthony Warner held a grudge against AT&T.
The girlfriend called investigators on Christmas Day and said Warner was likely responsible, according to her attorney. Investigative reporter Ben Hall talked with that attorney, who says she deserves the reward money for helping to solve the case.
Hey dude, you will never believe what I found in the park. Read the cover letter to one of Warner's longtime friends. It was signed by Julio, a name Warner's friends say he often used when sending them emails.
On 2nd Avenue North at 1:22 a.m.
And based on over time where it was going, they extrapolated it out further. And strangely enough, or wonderfully enough, they actually came up with a model that resembled a humanoid reptilian being, which actually matched that of the reports that we were hearing now, as well as reports from ancient history.
And apparently there are people who believe that stuff.
She felt concerned enough for the safety of everyone that she immediately called the FBI.
Attorney Jim Roberts now represents Anthony Warner's former girlfriend. He says she knew who did it after hearing someone had blown up an RV in front of an AT&T building downtown.
She knew that he had animosity towards AT&T for some bizarre reason. He had worked there, he was familiar with the building, he knew what they did there.
It continued, the knowledge I have gained is immeasurable. I now understand everything, and I mean everything, from what we really are to what the known universe really is.
You may find somebody kind to help and understand you.
And this is what the RV looks like from the inside. This is a different model, but the experts at Dunlap RV in Nashville tell me the size is about the same.
Now, authorities tell ABC News that Warner may have spent time hunting for alien life forms in a near statewide park.
Roberts says the AT&T connection only made her more certain it was Anthony Warner, and she shared that with the FBI on Christmas.
Apparently he'd worked for a company that had worked for AT&T, and the company was terminated, and he got fired and somehow blamed AT&T.
Roberts also represents attorney Ray Throckmorton, who once represented Warner and his girlfriend and spoke exclusively to News Channel 5 Investigates.
The FBI and PBI is at my front door.
He said agents showed up at his home the morning after Christmas. He told them about the police report he and Warner's girlfriend filed more than a year earlier. She told police Warner was building bombs in the RV trailer at his home.
So interestingly, during development, that same sequence of evolution is played out again as embryos. So there's any sort of defect in the embryo along the way, it gets stalled out of that earlier state. And now this man has a heart that's more typical of our distant ancestors, the reptiles.
The letter urged the friend to watch some internet videos he included on 2 Samsung thumb drives. On another page, Warner wrote about 9/11 conspiracy theories, ending with the statement that the moon landing and 9/11 have so many anomalies they are hard to count.
And they're listening to it constantly. And you can't have leaders who are promoting that.
They certainly should be applauded for trying to prevent this tragedy. There's no doubt about that. But that's not what the reward is designed for.
Roberts says Throckmorton and Warner's girlfriend don't deserve the reward money because of the warning a year earlier, but because they came forward after the bombing, before anyone knew Warner was dead.
They were worried.
David Icke is more or less the father of the modern lizard people theory and its derivatives. The idea of lizards that are human-like and that may wish to infiltrate human society crops up in mythology and fiction world over. Perhaps most notably, Robert E. Howard's The Shadow Kingdom, published in 1929, is about serpent men ruling in secret by replacing important humans with lookalikes.
Warner later wrote that September 2011 was supposed to be the end game for the planet, because that's when he says aliens and UFOs began launching attacks on Earth.
So for me, this was one of the most compelling pieces of information where science actually says it is possible.
Diners hadn't found out. This would have become what we call the dinosaur roid, an upright standing, semi-humanoid, semi-reptilian entity, what we might call a reptoid. He thought might stand 4 to 5 feet high, weigh about 90 pounds, and have a fairly advanced brain. Now, did this entity ever come into existence?
That might show up at their house and try to kill them.
It's very spacious. It's got a double bed, a shower, a kitchen, an eating area, and get this RV has a propane tank and a 60-gallon fuel tank. Authorities say the Nashville bomber, 63-year-old Anthony Warner, may have been obsessed with conspiracy theories about 5G phone technology, which could explain why the bomb was detonated outside the AT&T building, disrupting cell service in 5 states.
He believed the media was covering up those attacks. But Warner's writings grow even more bizarre. At one point, he writes to his friend about reptilians and lizard people.
What if some of the dinosaurs didn't become extinct? What if they managed to survive the global extinction or presumed extinction 65 million years ago?
We're happy to reward anybody that helped solve this case. I mean, that's what the point was.
Which Spiriton says the Nashville Convention and Visitors Corporation immediately donated $10,000 for information leading to the bomber. He says businesses then pledged more money.
We control right now that's tied to a reward of $34,500.
A TV host.
Residents were woken up by the sound of around 20 gunshots between 5:11 a.m. and 5:26 a.m. Police responded to the area at about 6 a.m.
Although it is not the park that park has not yet been named.
Host with CNBC pledged $250,000 in reward money, but Spirit says they don't control that. He said he's waiting for the official investigation to be closed before deciding who gets the reward money.
While the discovery of a human with a reptilian heart is incredibly rare, other genetic conditions have been found that suggest a link with reptiles. Since the 1800s, over 100 cases of human tails have been reported in medical journals. People with the disease, ichthyosis, had dry, scaly skin.
Ike was a well-known TV presenter in the UK in the 90s when he started hearing voices. He says,
When we think, it is not a vacuum. When we think, we create an energy field. This is how telepathy works.
He began
I heard a warning coming from a loudspeaker on the RV. The voice warned of a bomb in the vehicle and told people to evacuate, while also counting down the minutes before detonation.
Robert says if other tips led to identifying Warner, the money should be shared. He just wants to make sure it's paid out.
We want people to come forward. If you're going to go make a reward or offer a reward for people to come forward, you need to honor that when they do come forward.
That he believed control Earth and had tweaked human DNA. Warner wrote, they put a switch into the human brain so they could walk among us and appear human.
Over time, some of them developed through natural selection and they grew smaller, they became more intelligent, they became more adept and adaptive, and took on a humanoid form.
The FBI just released this photo of Warner behind the wheel of a vehicle, taken at an ATM machine just in the last week. Like other
We necessarily shouldn't think that the reptilians are extraterrestrials. Perhaps in some strange way they're our forefathers, albeit from millions and millions of years in the past.
Warner's letters cover a variety of bizarre theories, but he never mentions AT&T or anything else that would suggest a specific motive for the Nashville bombing.
Because what happens then is we get so divided and people are so angry at each other that then nothing gets done.
It claimed, among many other things, that humans are, well, the same thing is happening as in the Shadow Kingdom, but the Serpent men are from outer space, live deep underground, and occupy a different dimension.
The source tells ABC News that thoughts about those conspiracies were found in writings.
And people with the diseases, called syndactyly and ectrodactyly, have fused fingers and claw-like hands.
The bomb exploded at 6:29 a.m., severely damaging the AT&T transmission building and knocking out data services in 5 states.
Now, while News Channel 5 believes summarizing Warner's letters will provide a better understanding into his state of mind, we've made the decision not to publish his letters in the...
If the reptilians do exist, could they be the descendants of dinosaurs that walked the Earth millions of years ago?
You see, sound resonates our bodies and performs. That's how reptilians can shapeshift, because they can utilize the 4th dimension.
major communication companies, AT&T uses 5G, the latest super-fast cell phone technology.
Is that the lizard people are among us, eating human meat and sacrificing human children, also they can continue to resonate.
But if such anatomical irregularities are a link to our ancient ancestors, as some scientists suggest, could it be that they are not the remnants of a reptilian stage in human development, but instead reveal that humans once commingled with reptilian aliens?
This is an ongoing investigation. At this time, it's unclear if these beliefs are connected to the Christmas Day bombing.
Our concept of dinosaurs is changing all the time, of course, and nowadays we're making so many new discoveries every year that we're interpreting them in many ways.
Warner is known to have had extensive experience in IT work.
Ancient astronaut theorists say yes, and believe that further clues can be found in the stories of China's first emperor, Fuxi.
Fuxi is one of the mythical rulers of China, and he's considered to be the original or prototypical man. He was created along with his sister Nuwa. They were humanoid in form in the sense that their upper bodies were that of humans, but their lower bodies were that of snakes.
5G can be used to spy on Americans.
Certainly, if you look 20, 30 years back, there's so many things that have been found, and so many other things we know now. Particularly, I think it's been very important, but nowadays is completely very well accepted, the idea that dinosaurs are not extinct.
Media reports say the FBI asked Warner's acquaintances if he was paranoid about 5G technology.
And they're often represented with snake tails intertwined together.
Similar stories of reptilian humanoid beings exist in cultures around the ancient world, including Japan, Greece, and South America.
Others even believe the coronavirus is being spread by 5G waves.
And believe theories that 5G was being used to spy on people.
It's one of the most bizarre conspiracy theories today. Ancient, blood-sucking lizard people disguised as humans who secretly rule the world.
We even have good drawings and beliefs of many of these fantastic creatures. And so is it possible that some of these creatures really are aliens that look like that? And it seems like in some cases that is probably the case.
Their entirety. We're trying to balance shedding light on his mindset prior to the bombing with not giving him unnecessary notoriety.
Authorities say an anti-5G extremist set fire to a 5G tower in the Netherlands.
That just radio frequency wireless technology can in any way spread a virus.
Warner reported.
Where did this bizarre theory start? And is there any chance that it's all true?
Is a different phenomena. The proof essentially is people look weird. Look at Liz Windsor here. Doesn't she look weird? This woman's eyes look weirdly, and when she moves them, it also looks weird. People look weird. Of course, belief in a reptilian conspiracy is on the extreme end of conspiracy theories. The underlying mechanism behind the belief is the same.
Always run after Goldberg. Other unusual anomalies also appear to mirror the descriptions of divine beings from ancient texts. Millions of infants are born with blue patches of skin called Mongolian spots, evoking the blue-skinned gods common to India and Egypt.
You then see their talking points being regurgitated G8, G20, being pushed by the media outlets they own and control.
It comes from commonly made logical fallacies, and is based on faithful belief, despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. If you look at flat earthers, you may find an enormous amount of writing, with physical equations and explanations, setting out that the earth is flat in seemingly scientific terms.
They go by many names: Anunnaki, Tertarians, or reptilian humanoids, but most refer to them simply as the lizard people.
To make the world look like a parade night textbook. For reasons unknown. Whereas through the looking glass here, people, agenticity is the tendency of humans to attribute and explain events to causal agents. Things and for a reason, whether it's God, aliens, Mother Nature, or your next door neighbor. This must be somebody conscious doing. Sherma argues that our brains are evolutionarily primed toward belief because of these two factors. Patternicity connects the dots, and agenticity, so we believe.
According to the theory, lizard people are cold-blooded, human-like reptilian creatures who can shapeshift into human form on command.
You may recognize Roberts. He has sued Metro in the past over development at the fairgrounds, and he fought to get a vote to repeal the 34% property tax increase. He emphasizes his clients came forward because it was the right thing to do.
Told one friend he had cancer, and he may have been trying to tie up loose ends before the bombing. Before he blew himself up, he turned his modest $160,000 house over to an LA woman named Michelle Swing. According to one report, Warner once dated Michelle Swing's mother.
Many kings, queens, world leaders, and celebrities count among their ranks, and they supposedly use their ability to gain power and influence in governments and business all across the globe.
There have also been many cases of gigantism throughout history, bringing to mind biblical stories of Nephilim, giants that were said to be the hybrid offspring of humans and divine beings called the Watchers.
Okay, yesterday you told us you traveled, I think, thousands of light years to get here.
Yes.
Tell us the truth, or another reader.
It is truth. I'm from Earth, from your future.
Federal investigators say before Anthony Warner blew himself up in downtown Nashville Christmas morning, he sent materials about his views to people that he knew.
So I take aliens took over our future, right?
No.
So did you.
An evolutionary descendant.
The brain processes sensory experiences and automatically begins to look for patterns and search for meaning in them. Our brains connect the dots.
Believers tend to look for a few telltale signs. Red hair, green eyes, good hearing, and unexplained scars are all considered hints that a prominent person might be a lizard in disguise.
CBS News has confirmed the packages were sent out 2 days before the explosion. The FBI is asking anyone who may have received one to come forward.
When you're alone and life is making you lonely, you can't always go downtown.
Okay, so you vote from us?
Yes.
So what are you doing here now?
Observing. Since evidence was destroyed.
How?
Nuclear war.
Create explanation for how the world works, which then become beliefs. Once beliefs are formed, the brain begins to search for the same pattern everywhere.
When you got worries, all the noise in the
They supposedly came to Earth from the star system Alpha Draconis and lurk in the underground layers, always plotting to overthrow humanity. Some even suggest these ravenous reptiles survive by sucking the blood of unsuspecting victims.
At least one of the envelopes contains a typed letter of conspiracy theories and 2 thumb drives.
She is quoted as saying, "This is all very weird to me." Warner's mother refused to talk to reporters. A message seen in...
Small numbers survived. Our ancestors.
Okay, so how about we concentrate on your time?
You were not involved in planting or accepting discoveries of my time.
Try me.
The origin of the universe. future of so-called life, it is known.
Wait, so you know the meaning of life?
Not me. Nature.
What's the difference?
Meaning is something that is ascribed. Nature is the objective reality.
Downtown, just listen to the music of the traffic in the city. Linger on the sidewalk where the neon signs are pretty.
If this sounds less like fact, a little bit more like fantasy, that
This DailyMail.com photo was posted on her front door. This is private property. Leave or I'll call police.
Investigators say the 63-year-old man was killed in the blast.
So you know how the universe is created?
Yes.
So you think God?
We evolved past our need for superstition, the need for awe and other myths.
Okay, illuminate us. What happens when we die?
Death is a human construct. It does not exist.
The neon signs are pretty. How can you lose? The lights are much brighter there.
in 1929. In this story, there's an ancient, almost extinct race of reptilian humanoids who rule the world from the shadows, using their magic to disguise themselves as any person they want. Sound familiar?
As confirmatory evidence in support of their beliefs. This creates a positive feedback, reinforcing belief, which then reinforces the brain.
You can't forget all your troubles, forget all your cares, so go down.
You will experience, and have experienced, every instant of so-called life. You, me, him. We are instances of the same life, separated by what you call death.
That injured several people and damaged dozens of buildings. His motive is still.
About 4 to 7% of Americans believe the lizard people conspiracy. And while that number sounds small, it represents millions of people. So let's clear the air once and for all. There's no evidence whatsoever that the lizard people are real. So
Okay, so how was the universe created, and why is it so perfectly made for us?
Continuing to look for the pattern. This is how belief becomes deeply ingrained and difficult to change, because the brain becomes wired to look for confirmation.
There are an infinite number of universes, each with different physical properties. Virtually all do not support life such as you not.
And then there's the aftermath. It's just absolutely chilling. It's like, you know, it is like something you'd see out of a movie.
Within us is the whole evolutionary development of humankind, as well as the other species that humans developed from, reptiles, fish, and so forth. Extrapolating this idea, if extraterrestrials had a hand in retooling our DNA, then do we also carry their genetic makeup within us, as we would?
knowing that our celebrities and world leaders are
Okay, so why do we destroy ourselves for nuclear war? Can you be more specific?
And it's happened on Christmas Day in downtown Nashville, a very official sounding recording film.
Political, religious dogma. It is the root of all major conflict of your species.
Is a predictor too. Anyone who feels that they are low status or perhaps isolated, political cynicism and problems with authority, ideas and showing are associated with believing, as is a tendency toward right-wing authority.
In your next century, access to weaponry of mass destruction, frustrates their rule by dogma, will destroy your species.
Meanwhile, Warner may have taken the mystery of downtown to his grave.
And Phil, I believe we have that surveillance video queued up again. This is right on 2nd Avenue, and this time we have backed it up prior to the explosion, because it does catch the explosion, but you can hear the repeated recordings. And guys, I'm not sure if we have that. We all want to just be quiet and listen carefully to that recording, which police, like you said, Phil, confirming now was coming from the RV. Let's roll.
Okay, one last thing. What about morality? What do you base your morality on?
Compassion and evidence.
Authoritarianism. Specifically, the political attitude characterized by obedience to an authoritarian leader, a deeply rooted mentality regarding traditional societal values, and paradoxically, distrust of government.
We know today that our DNA contains a lot of junk DNA that we still don't understand. So when we see these genetic anomalies surface in physical form in children, it could be that it's not an anomaly. It's actually a lost extraterrestrial gene, a marker that's not resurfacing at the right time.
Those with this tendency are most drawn to conspiracy theories regarding the deviance of high-status individuals in society that are perceived to threaten the status quo. In addition, people who have a tendency toward hierarchical social structures in general, called a social dominant orientation, are more likely to endorse theories involving the deviance of low-status groups, which could be anything from homosexuals to ethnic minorities, that are thought to threaten the status quo.
Downtown, everything's waiting for you. That's way down.